everybody. Welcome back. We are the Ace Football Academy here with your Friday Footy Talk. Coach John alongside Coach Hamilton as always. Coach, we enjoyed our Friday Footy Talk. It's going to dive into another topic tonight, and it's one that you and I kind of laugh about when we talk about privately, but it is an important one, and it's one that I coach in training sessions, and I put emphasis on in training sessions. And we're just talking time wasting strategies tonight. So, coaches, you kind of know what we're talking about. You're up 1-0. You're up 2-1. It's late in the game. Everything's kind of tense. And the other team is trying to go fast, and you're trying to talk your players into, hey, let's everybody relax and let's kind of waste some time here. And I guess for me, before we get into some specifics, when I'm talking time-wasting strategies with my girls, I'm like, the official should have to say to you, Blue, play the ball. And so that's kind of where I am. Like, make him tell you, hey, it's time to play the ball.
Yeah, this is one of the things where you have to teach the kids, number one, know when to go fast.
Yes.
Know when to go slow.
Yeah.
You've got to learn how to finish games.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need to get that goal, but sometimes you need to realize I don't need to score another goal. I need to prevent them from scoring a goal. So a lot of this is about understanding and recognizing what's going on in the game, how much time is left, and saying there's only 5 minutes to go. We're up by a goal.
Yeah.
All right, slow it down. Every throw-in should take forever. Every kick should take forever. The goalie should just randomly fall on the ground with the ball in his hands every single time. So it's those little things in the details.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to get into some of those scenarios. But I think also time-wasting strategies is I kind of tell my girls too, hey, if it's 2-2, but they are pounding our goal and we can't seem to get anywhere up the field, then, okay, let's rethink what we're trying to do here. Let's get out of here with the result. Let's get a point, and we'll regroup for another day, right? So I do think there's also some time wasting in that respect, too, where you're like, all right, we are getting just absolutely throttled. It's a matter of time before they score.
Yeah.
But I know there's only 3 minutes left in this match. Why don't I make this throw-in take 90 seconds of that, right? So, Coach, let's dive in. We kind of broke this down into two categories of time-wasting strategies. Things the coach can do and things the player can do. There's a lot of things the player can do, so let's start with the coach.
Yeah, I think the most common thing, I know we've done this in high school, we've seen thousands of coaches do this, but you're substituting.
Yeah.
Every time that ball is out of bounds, sub, and you're replacing one player at a time, Yeah. And it can be the same players over and over again.
Yeah.
There's no limit in youth soccer, even in the high school game, of how many subs you can have. It doesn't matter if there's 10 seconds left in the game. If you want to play a sub, now I have seen some refs say, no, coach, not happening.
Yeah.
So some refs understand what you're doing, and some would just be like, part of the game.
Yeah, and I've actually had a ref say he started stopping the clock on every sub.
Oh, that's
so he would blow it dead, sub on.
That's an interesting understanding. Yeah,
that happened to me at Central.
That's throwing it right back in your face.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. And so there are ways to combat that, but you're right. Yeah, I'll take somebody off, and then they walk off, and they're kind of looking at you like, "What am I doing?" And you grab them by the arm. That ball gets played, and you're like, "Hey, get back on the line. Go get her."
Here's the other side of that, and this is kind of where coaches that get the details across through the players, when you're making a sub, that player should be walking off that field.
Yeah.
Or they don't hear you 5 different times call their name and like, oh, me?
Yeah. Right.
They start walking across the field.
Yep,
so
absolutely.
The details.
Get to the point, and again, I tell my girls all the time, get to the point to where the referee says, hey, let's go. Right? Yeah. Most referees, I shouldn't say all, but most referees aren't going to card you for the first time, for the first offense, right?
True.
They're going to say, hey, 24, let's go. Or, hey, coach, we're not, let's relax on that, right? But get to the point to where the referee is, maybe he's stopping the clock, maybe he's telling you no, but whatever it is, get to that point to where the coach is, or the referee is saying, hey, I know what you're doing and I'm not going to allow it.
Yeah, absolutely.
The second one we want to talk about is just that strategery of changing the throw-in person or changing the kicker on restarts, whether it's a goal kick or a corner or off of a foul, right? You let everything get set up, and then you're like, oh no, hey Dunham, I want you to take that.
Yeah,
right?
This is classic. Again, it's very similar to the substituting. You're just moving things around, moving chess pieces around the field. But just like you said, you wait till everything's set up. Let everything. You're hoping your players are slowing things down.
Yeah.
They're asked for the 10 yards or
absolutely.
Whatever the situation may be.
Yeah.
But you wait till the player's about to either throw it in or hit the kick. Like, whoa, hey, Becky, no. I need my left footer here.
Yeah.
Right,
absolutely.
Whatever comment you can come up with that doesn't say, hey, I'm switching players at the last second. I need a bigger foot. I need a lefty here. I need an inward or an outward swing. Whatever comment you can make that doesn't sound like you're time wasting.
Correct.
Make that adjustment there. But again, that comes with patience and a little experience with the coach. But I love that idea of always switching the kick takers and the throw-in takers. And just like you said, if it is one of those dead ball situations, hopefully you've explained this to the players, you hold that ball.
Oh, yeah.
And just keep saying, keep moving, until that ref says, throw the ball in or I'm carding you.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. And I think that's so hard for players, like...
they're go.
You want to do what? But yeah, like... and I
feel awkward.
It does. It feels awkward, right? But absolutely. And I think the key piece is you wait till, that they've made the referee mark step off 10 yards. They have reset everything. And then you're like, and then to your point, you're like, hey, you know what? I need this ball to be a left foot. Abby, go take it. Or whatever it is. But I will say you need to probably have that in your arsenal as a coach. You don't just need to say, hey, Abby, I want you to take this so it takes more time. Right? But you do need to have those kind of terminology things to make sure that you are understanding the moment.
It's funny that you made that comment about knowing what to say and what not to say, because when I probably in high school was playing on a club team, we were up in a tournament by a goal. There was like 5 minutes to go in the game. The ball goes out of bounds on the coach's side of the field, a little towards like the box. My coach turns over and says, walk. I mean, I'm on the other side of the field and I heard my coach say, hey, walk.
Yeah. Yeah.
The ref did nothing.
Yeah.
I'm like, what are you doing, man?
Well, okay, so before we get into the player side of the things, right? Let's just have a real quick conversation. We went through that pretty quickly, so let's have a real quick conversation. What do you think the referee's role is in that? Like, is it just gamesmanship and, hey, that's part of the game? Or do you think the referee should say, hey, we're not subbing, or hey, I'm going to stop the clock, or hey, we're not doing this switching kicker thing. Like, come on, we're going to play the game.
First of all, every referee knows what's happening.
Oh, yeah. Everybody.
They get it. They
understand.
Yeah, they understand the gamesmanship that's going on here. I think, of course, you and I realize this. Every ref is going to be different. Some are more lenient. Some are on top of things, just like your guy stopping the clock.
Yeah.
And you got to either know that ref and what you can get away with, but you've got to test those boundaries.
Absolutely.
Now, your question is, what's the ref's role in this? Well, number one, it's managing the game. Mm-hmm. Trying to keep things moving as much as possible. When that ball is out of bounds, you want it back in play as soon as possible. Because you know if you don't, guess who's going to be complaining? The other team.
Correct.
Well, and rightfully so. So I think the referee's understanding should be, all right, I'll let that one stay in my head right here, but the very next one, they're getting a warning.
Yeah.
And the third one, we're probably pulling cards out. So you've got to start you got to set the standard. Hey, I get what you're doing. Mm-hmm. I understand what's happening. I'll let it ride a little bit, but when you start pressing that time limit, I'm going to start saying something.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I agree there. All right, Coach, let's dive into some player antics, for lack of a better term, that can create some time-wasting scenarios. I think this is so important because, as we have already mentioned at the top of the episode, it's so much easier to go than it is to, hey, let's relax for a second, right? And especially in those moments because the other team is go, hurry, run, go, right? And they're probably more vocal in those moments. Those last couple minutes, their team, their coach, probably more vocal in those last, trying to encourage. And so it's easy to get caught up in that and like, oh, I got to get this ball, I got to go, right? Come on, hurry up. We're going fast. But if you can coach this in your team, and I think this is another, coaching time wasting strategies that we didn't talk about is like, but training it, coaching it, talking about it. The first one we're going to talk about, I don't necessarily agree with, but it definitely happens. So, feigning an injury, coach.
Well, obviously we all see it in the pros.
Oh yeah.
He's laying on the ground, holding his ankle, rolling around. The ball's on the far end of the field. The ref's clearly not giving a crap.
Yeah.
And he magically stands up, starts running.
Right.
So it's knowing when it's supposed to occur as a player. You see it so much in the pros, but coaching that to a youth player, there's that fine line of, hey, where's the sportsmanship and where's that line of kind of cheating a little bit with your youth players? I don't know that I'm teaching anyone under really 10 years old about this stuff, obviously, because they're like, do what?
Right.
And plus, I want my kids playing and fighting through and toughing things out. But I think high school is really where you start getting that understanding of the concept of why it's happening. Not just doing it, but why it's happening. Maybe, it's like you said, this team is running circles around us. And I just need 2 minutes to catch my breath.
Yeah, right. Absolutely.
And so I'm gonna take a hit. I'm gonna kind of roll my hip is, my hamstring, whatever it may be. And I'm gonna stay on that ground a little bit. I may get subbed off for 2 minutes, but I'm gonna give my team a breather. I'm gonna give my coach a minute to talk to whoever needs to have a word with.
Yeah, absolutely.
To say, hey, dude, this is what's happening. Let's correct it this way. Yeah. Or, hey, we're going to change our tactics here real quick. Whatever that situation may occur. But understanding, again, it's the awareness in the game as a player. Knowing what's happening. Are we getting overrun? Are we up? Do we just need a break? There's a lot going on here. But, again, I've said it over and over again. It's the details of the game that the coaches got to get across to his players.
And I think this goes hand in hand with, like, and I don't know if we've ever talked about that. I'm sure it's come up. But, you have those good fouls moments, like, when the team's transitioning and you're like, okay, I got to foul this person or it's going to be one-on-one with the keeper, right? So, again, just understanding that's what you're doing in that moment, right? I got to, like, I get stepped on or I get rolled or I get knocked down. I am going to give it 10, 12, 30 seconds, right? However long you can pull it off for before I hop up. I'm like, okay, I'm good.
Yeah.
Right? So I like that one. The next one, coach, is, and I think this is the one that is the easiest to pull off, but it's also the one that you see screwed up the most, and it is the delayed restart.
Yeah, and this could be all kinds of things. Could be your goal kicks, your own free kicks, kickoffs. Maybe you just scored a goal, or maybe you just got scored on. Now, if you just scored the goal, go pick up the ball,
right,
and just hold it.
Yeah.
And again, there's so many different things to go around here, but if you got players that understand the situation, these delayed restarts are great.
Well, how often do you see, and we kind of mentioned this on the coach side of things too, but it is the player side. How often do you see, like, it's a throw in and, you're playing at a football field or something and the ball goes way off and, like, your team is, like, sprinting after the ball. You're like, hey, calm down. Whoa. I call it the lazy striker jog, right? Yeah. Give me a lazy striker jog after that ball and a lazy striker jog back. And then I'll switch the throw-in person, right? And I'll sub, and we'll do all that. But, just things like that. Like, I have a hard, fast rule with my team, and they even do it to each other at training. Like, if it's a corner, if the other team wins a corner or the other team wins a throw-in, like, why are we getting them the ball? Stop running after the ball for them. Mm-hmm. Like, because all they do is they put it in play, and you're still 2 steps off the field.
Well, the other side of that is, and I'm glad you brought this up previously, you have to give the professional foul.
Yeah.
The other side of that is, if I know I'm going to foul that guy, I'm fouling him and I'm booting the ball as well.
Right.
Because I know the whistle's going to get blown.
Yeah.
I bump him, I win the ball. Right as he's blowing the whistle, kaboom!
Yeah, absolutely.
Blow that ball away.
Yeah.
Again, now they've got to chase that ball. They've got to bring it all the way back.
Yeah.
And again, even if you didn't get a touch on the ball, don't touch that ball and give it back to him.
Right.
I've seen a lot of players do. I think is great because it shows awareness. Is the ball is rolling, the foul's made, so you kind of jog over like you're going to get it, like oh nope, turn right back around and go the other way.
Yeah.
And now they've got to come back and get the ball. So there's a lot of delay tactics that you can pull into this. But again, a lot of that is about awareness that the players have to recognize on the field because I can't be as a coach saying, boot that ball away there, son.
Right.
I mean,
hey, why are you running?
Exactly.
Stop.
Yeah, let's not make it too obvious and too obnoxious about it.
Yeah, absolutely. But you're right. There's so many little things that, and we're talking about, and a lot of these, we're talking about seconds, right? 4, 5, 6 seconds. But if you can do it 3 or 4 times, okay, then all of a sudden there's half a minute gone in your final 3 minutes, right? And so those things are really, really important because usually in those final minutes, you're going to get a lot of opportunities for that delay to restart.
Well, let's add a couple more details to this. So let's say you have created the foul. What's the first thing you tell your players to do?
Mark the ball or step
right in front of that ball.
Yeah, absolutely.
And not only that, when you're setting your wall up, I'm 6 yards away.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I'm making that referee count off the 10 steps.
Absolutely.
And then I'm slowly going back, and I'm going to stop at 9 yards instead of 10 yards. Come on back, guys. One more.
Yeah.
Every little detail. The other one that isn't talked about a lot is corner kicks. If they've got a corner kick, I'm standing inside that 10-yard line.
Yep.
Hopefully he doesn't notice it, which a lot of them don't really pay much attention to it. But again, those little details, making sure their restarts are also delayed.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great, great point. Coach, the next one. And it's funny that we have this one here because it's one of my favorites. And then I brought it up to my girls just recently. I forget if it was the 11s or 12s, and I forget exactly what the situation was. But I had brought it up, and they looked at me like they didn't know what I was talking about. And then I kind of explained it to them. They were like, oh, yeah, that does make sense. But it is shielding the ball at the corner flag, right? Again, we're up a goal. We don't have to score. What we need to have happen more than anything right now, I mean, if we score, is that great? Sure, that's great, right? But we don't have to. What we need more than anything right now is for the clock to run out. Mm-hmm. And so getting the ball to the corner flag, why do we do that? Because it is literally the furthest point from the other team's goal, right? And that's what you want. You want the ball as far away from their goal. Now you're going to shield, and hopefully what happens is you win a corner, or you want to throw in off of it, right? Or a foul off of it. How many times do they come over and they just run you over and you get a foul call, right? So shielding the ball at the corner flag is another good one that, especially at the youth level, you don't see used quite often.
And I think it's important to understand when this tactic should be applied in the game. If there's 10, 15 minutes to go in the game, I'm not saying there's 2 minutes to go, less than 2 minutes, maybe less than 3.
Yeah.
But like you said, I'm taking it to their end of the field.
Yeah.
Where I want to score on their goal, to their corner, just like you said. If they poke it out, I'm getting a corner or a throw in. And this is something you have to teach because you can't just dribble to the corner and just stand there.
Right.
You've got to have somebody that can shield the ball. They have some strength on them. Mm-hmm. Not necessarily the best ball skills, but they got strength. They can hold the ball with one foot, and their whole body's leaning to the other player.
Yeah. And
just hoping they either get fouled or knocked over, the ball kicked out of bounds. It's such a simple tactic because I feel like 90% of the time it's going to go your way.
Yeah. And the 10% it doesn't, okay, so they win the ball. Or you fall down, you don't get the call, they take the ball. Well, they have to go 118 yards to score, right? And hopefully you have some capable defenders behind you backing you up, right? So I really like that one. It's one that as you mentioned, it has to be coached, right? We're up a goal and we play a ball out to the wing. It doesn't necessarily need to come back to the middle of the pitch. I go back to you and I were watching it together. FC Cincinnati, Inter
Sergio
Miami.
Santos is still burning my brain.
Inter Miami. They had them beat. And there was like a minute and a half left. They played a ball out wide, and instead of Santos going to the corner flag, he tried to play a cross in.
He tried to play a through ball.
Yeah, Miami intercepted, came back the other way, got a foul. Messi puts it back in the net. They go to overtime. FC Cincinnati loses. Just a wild finish in that match, but that's what comes to my brain. Like, and I get that it's such a flip in thinking, right? Thinking, oh, we don't have to score.
For a youth player to understand that concept,
it's hard.
Because it's like, I need to score 1,000 goals. Mm-hmm. But what I tried to teach my boys when I had them, and right now they're all turning 12 years old, so from 10 to 11 years old, I'm trying to get them to understand, look, we don't need to score another goal.
Right.
I'm not saying we can't score another goal if it's just wide open for us.
Open net.
Yeah. But we shouldn't be screaming and going 100 miles an hour because we feel like we need one more goal with only 2 minutes to go in the game.
Yeah. And I want to come back to that point, but let's dive into our last one that we have. Another one that has to be taught, and you have to work on it and you have to train it, is just the goalkeeper time management. And I think of all the ones we've talked about, unless you have a referee who is clueless and doesn't really know what's going on. But out of all of these, the goalkeeper time management is the one that can truly chew some seconds off the clock, right? And there are several things that the goalkeeper can do.
Well, I think this is the one area where the ref probably gives a little more leniency to. Because technically the ball's still in play. So, number one, and I remember when I was coaching high school, me and the assistant coach, it was before you came on board, were trying to talk to Gabby about every time.
Shout out, Gabby.
Every time you get the ball, fall to the ground. I don't care if somebody is nowhere near you.
Yep.
I don't care if anybody doesn't. I don't care. You pick it up off the ground, up the air, grab it, cradle it, and you're falling to the ground.
Yep.
And you're going to lay on that ground for 5 seconds.
Yes, I count to 5.
And then you stand up. Get yourself then you stand up, walk up to the end of the box, count to 5 again.
Yep.
And then you're going to play that ball out.
Absolutely. And so within all that, again, we talk about, can I delay for half a minute? And the goalkeeper really, truly can.
Mm-hmm.
I say all the time, you were coaching an indoor game this past winter with the older girls. And I walked over to your keeper towards the end of the game. I was like, "Hey, would you relax and stop playing? You all are up a goal." And she was just like, catch it, throw. Like, can we relax for a second, right?
Yeah.
Chill. We don't need to do this like this. Yeah. And so it's just a lot of this, and we'll close with this in a minute, but it's just it's on the player to understand the situation and understand some of these tactics. And in the moment, it's on the players, but I do think it's on the coach to train those things, and to say, hey, we got to know where we are here. But you're right. How many times do you see in an MLS game or an EPL game, the keeper catches the ball, there's nobody around him, and he goes to the ground, right? And he lays there. And nobody says anything because you can't. There's kind of to your point where the ball is still in play. Like, there's nothing they can do.
Yeah. Well, one other thing I want to add to that is, let's say, just like we've asked for, you're on the ground, count to 5, you stand up, count to 5. Well, they're probably pushed back already.
Mm-hmm.
Why not put the ball right back down at your feet?
Yeah.
And then wait for them to come.
Yeah.
Because eventually, like, oh, I'm going to run over to you and you're going to kick the ball away. Yep, that's exactly what I'm going to do.
Don't pick it back up, though.
Don't pick it back up. Yeah. You just wasted another 5 seconds off that clock.
Yeah.
And you pulled somebody out of position that didn't want to come up in the first place. The other one I want to add into was goal kicks. Let's say they took a shot and they missed the goal. I'm walking
to
that ball.
Yeah.
There is no running. There's no jogging. until I hear the ref say, let's pick it up, keep.
Yeah. And then I'm walking back, and I'm going to grab my water bottle that's by the goal. I'm going to take my swig of water and set it up. And
then I'm going to set the ball outside the 6-yard box.
Yeah.
And see if the ref catches that. Any little thing that I can get, I'm going to waste at least 10, 15 seconds minimum.
Resetting it, right.
Every time the ball comes to my area.
Yeah, and so I do think the goalkeeper is crucial in time management in these situations. And maybe I'm wrong, you can chime in on this real quickly, but I think a lot of goalkeepers, and I know some really, really good goalkeepers, I've seen them at a lot of levels, but this is the one part of their game that is lacking a little bit. They don't understand the power they have as the goalkeeper.
Well, they were never taught it.
Yeah.
A lot of them group as field players, or they didn't really have a coach work with them as a goalkeeper. Mm-hmm. We've dealt with that ourselves, coaching alone.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just not something that from the youth level, they just don't have that, I guess, the time to work on those goalkeeper skills. And it's such a crucial thing to understand. Like we said, knowing how to finish games is so important. It's not just the footwork, it's the mental part as well.
Yeah, and I think that's a great place to end here, Coach. It is, yes, it has to be trained, but as both coaches and players, you have to understand game situations. Mm-hmm. You have to train those game situations. You have to discuss those game situations. But I think a lot of these things, the biggest issue, both for a coach and a player, is that they go untrained. They're not talked about. And so because of that, you get into these moments and the other team is screaming and all the fans are screaming and the energy level is through the roof and it's tense. And so your body naturally wants to go, react faster. And so you have to understand that, hey, I got to chill. We're in control here. And I think that's the big point in this. If you're getting into time-wasting strategies, I mentioned earlier, are there times when maybe you are in a draw and you're just trying to kill the game? Sure. But in most of the time, if you're going into time-wasting strategies, that means you're in control. You have the lead. You have, what you want. And so understanding those game time situations is crucial for both a player and a coach. Speaking, Coach, that was a lot of fun tonight. We will get into, the last couple of weeks we've done some fun Friday footy talks, so maybe we'll get a little more serious next week.
We'll think about it.
But this one was a lot of fun. Coach Dunham alongside Coach Hamilton. This has been the Friday Footy Talk. We are the A.C.E Football Academy. Go kick some A's.